Yeah, I'm bold like that. I am bold like that. Oh my goodness. I'm going to take a breather right now while I still can. Talk to me. How is it going? It's been a while. I haven't been on Instagram. But we have a little juicy coming on tonight. Just a little juicy. Peace and Pear. Christine. She's coming on. So that's about the gist. And try to be mindful to be attentive to both. Yes, it's been a while, Lando. I think it's been 2 weeks since I've been on Station Head. 2 weeks. I needed a break. I was doing too much. Burning it on both ends. And that's never good. It's never good. So I had to be mindful of that. I had to be. Hi, Patricia. You just have me to yourself tonight on Facebook. Everybody else, be sure to come over to Instagram. Do that if you want to partake of Christine. Do that. Hi, Sonny Boo. Fabesti is in the house. My Fabesti. Hi, Navi. Welcome in. Yay. What do you guys think about that Solange album? That new one. I have it in the background. So, of course, I don't own the rights to this music. The first time I heard it, I wasn't feeling it too much. But, you know, I'm a Solange fan. Yeah. Christine, you're on the wrong platform, dear. I'm waiting for you over on Instagram. Yes, come on over. Hi, Son. Hope you're doing good, dear. I hope you're doing great. I really do. Oh my gosh. It's Wisdom Wednesday. For those of you who are coming in and you're coming in from Christine's camp, I am Valerie Miller of TVM. This very moment, you have opportunity to change as well as right now. Hi, I'm Patrick. Good to meet you, Patrick. I haven't seen you in a while. Yes. You're funny, Mr. Robinson. So come on in. Hi, Sheldon. Christine should be in just a moment. I just clicked her in. Indeed, indeed. It's going to be a juicy tonight. We're talking about some consciousness. Consciousness and our history. And understanding where our past leads us to our present as well as our future. That's some good stuff. Yes. Yes. You found me. You found me. For everybody that's on Facebook, if you want to partake, of engagement with Christine and myself, we're live as well over on Instagram because I had some technical difficulties earlier today. If you have noticed on my timeline, there are 4 different videos. Craziness. Complete craziness. Okay, Christine, where are you, my dear? Where are you? It says you were coming in. I feel like it's Friday. Do you all feel the same? Do you feel the same? Gosh, and it's just Wednesday. A girl needs a vacation. I need a vacation in the worst way. In the absolute worst way. That is, hi, are you? Hello.
Hi.
Hi, and she's here. Isn't it great?
I'm very sorry, but you know what? We've got it together now.
You too, Patrick? Well, okay. You have to give me a buzz, Mr. Robinson.
There we go.
Yes. Christine,
I can hear you.
and you can hear me. This is the beauty of having an option of a secondary location.
Yeah.
You see?
I like it.
I had to do that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the whole top and bottom.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
But you know what? It's just good to be here and actually be able to talk to you because I know we tried, I think, 3 or 4 times earlier today. So at this point, it's all good.
It is fabulous, actually.
Yeah, that's why I had the camera turned around. It was from Facebook earlier.
You were trained.
So, you know.
You were trained. I'm just grateful you're here. Thank you.
I'm really, really happy to be here too. And I love when we have conversations on the phone. So this is really special to be able to talk and have some of your folks with us too. So it's great.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have my Sparrows, and they're the absolute greatest. They're the
And I
absolute
learned about
greatest.
that earlier today on Facebook. They were helping us with our technical problem.
Yeah, they know how I flutter my feathers when the time comes around like this. I really do. I don't like it. However, we're going to go ahead and get started because I know time is a-ticking. And we have to look at it for what it is. I'm grateful for having you come over. And we're going to get around to peace and Pear. We're going to talk about peace and Pear. But before then, because I haven't had the opportunity to introduce you, I'm sitting here and taking in my deep breaths because of the afternoon.
I know. I feel the same way.
I did the deep breaths to really recenter myself
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
So, tell the Sparrows, who is Christine? How did Christine get to be where she is right now so we can get over to the juiciness of peace and Pear? Because topic tonight is consciousness and history. History is to be remembered, and its purpose to that history, how we land to where we are today because of that, and it also shapes us for where we're going. Right?
Absolutely. Yes. I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Thank you.
The ball's in your court.
So, real quickly, I, for about almost 30 years, was working as a graphic designer, art director. That was my first initial career out of college, and it served me very well. I really enjoyed it. But I found about 6 or 7 years ago something was missing. I kind of was going through career burnout and just wasn't feeling fulfilled anymore. And I had worked in advertising agencies, and it was a total pressure cooker. And I found one of the things that I really enjoyed doing was I really enjoyed helping people coach themselves, kind of work through some of like their life problems, people who weren't eating well. I would always, talk about different, plant-based diets, eating, getting off the junk food, things like that. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go do a nutrition school program. And I did a year-long program online, and it was out of New York City, and I became a health and wellness coach. And at the time, it was just a hobby. But I found that I really enjoyed it. So I was doing a lot of workshops around town and at some corporations. I was trying to get people to eat healthy, give up all the caffeine and donuts and sugar. But what I really started gravitating to was talking about that mind-body connection. So I could get people to eat really, really healthy. But if they were stressed out and they weren't happy in their careers and, everything else was out of balance, they weren't going to be healthy and they weren't going to be happy.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So, basically, I did that for a while, and then I went through a little bit of a personal crisis. I was going through a major breakup, and I had suffered a lot of pain and betrayal around that. So, I had some real issues that I needed to work on with myself, and I started a meditation practice, and I got back into yoga and journaling, and I kind of went on this quest for about 3 or 4 months to really find out what my purpose was and what I wanted to do, and that's when I launched Peace and Pear, and I came up with Soulful Connections, and here I am today. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's it within a nutshell, and it is power behind Peace and Pear, and there's a lot of similarities of what we do because it's coach to coach tonight, right? And
Yeah.
that's what stirred up the conversation between us and having a mutual connection to link us to bring us to this point. So,
Right.
again, networking is a wonderful thing. Our history is a wonderful thing. And sometimes it takes startling ourselves of situations that take place in our lives to bring us to present. So that's what I was referencing when saying, je me savais. You're going to hear me say it 1,000,001 times. Je me savais. And I love the word, first of all. It's a beautiful word.
It is.
However,
It sounds pretty. It's got a good meaning.
French. It's French. And what it is, it means remember your past. Remember your history. In so many words. And I learned of it the first time when in Quebec, Canada, and seeing it everywhere, and just inquired to one of the tour guides, and what in the world does that mean? I see it everywhere. He said, well, you Americans. And so he said, well, listen, remember your history. And that stuck with me. I wrote about it in my book, about the power of our past, and living it every day, to be conscious of that, to say, you know what? History isn't a bad thing. History can be a very powerful thing. It's all about how you look at it and what you've learned from it to make it relevant in the present. So you've taken what you have experienced, seeing a need, taking the time to educate yourself in that area.
Yeah.
And now you've created a space to where it can be encompassed full circle. And that's where consciousness comes from. Like you said, you can speak until you're blue in the face. If any person that we're coaching or we're just having strategies with to correct whatever the issue, if there's some deep-rooted things, you can forget about it. You have to fix the whole person. It's the whole person, not a piece.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's what I love about it. I love it.
I heard, this is a great quote that I heard a while ago that I love to use, and it's, sometimes obstacles are really detours in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And there was a time a few years ago that I would think things happened by coincidence, and that would really bother me. Like, what did I do wrong? How did I make that happen?
Nothing.
And then I came to realize over the last handful of years, everything happens for a reason, and it's a growth opportunity.
I agree.
And I went through some really, really dark times between my career and the breakup of a long-term relationship, and I ended up not working for 3 or 4 months and really trying to work myself, out of the pain. I wanted a quick fix, and it wasn't happening. And that's when I kind of went on the spiritual journey, between meditation and journaling and mindfulness practices, and read every spiritual book I could get my hands on. Sometimes pain is a great teacher, right? It wakes us up.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be where you are without it.
Right. And I wouldn't trade my history for the world. There were a lot of painful moments, but, when we were talking earlier that we were going to talk about history, my personal history is what made me who I am today, and I'm probably the happiest that I've ever been. Even though I've gone through a huge, personal life storm, which I think everybody does at some point, maybe several times in their lives, right? Yes. We all hit that wall and we're like, things aren't working, and we're humans having a human experience. So, I think I wouldn't trade it for the world, though. But it was tough. It was tough, but I came out of it, I think, a better person.
You think, or do you know?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Take ownership of it, because, it is purpose in all of it. We just don't understand it at the time while we're going through it. We may ask the questions, I've learned to not ask why. Just say, okay, yes, I got it.
Yeah.
Let me stand up and take it.
Yeah, and I think, it's a great point, because that's one of the things I do in my meditation. I mean, there's a quiet time, self-reflection, getting in touch with myself.
Right.
But also, I always, when I go into my meditation, I always have a question that I ask. Like,
Right.
what am I supposed to be doing? Guide me on the right path. You know, what do I need to see? What do I need to hear? What do I need to do today?
Right.
And I wait for those answers, and it doesn't always happen. But I think the thing in my, you know, coaching people and talking in workshops and talking to people online, one of the things that I try and express to everybody that I think is really important is you can't run away from yourself, and you can't run away from the pain, no matter how
No.
hard, and I think we've all done it, we've all tried, and it is not in the bottom of a bag of potato chips and a bottle of red wine. It's not, you know, going out with your girlfriends every single night. I mean, it's just not there. And I mean, you could do it and you can chase it for as long as you want, but that's really, you know, what I try and emphasize with people is sit down and just sit quietly.
Take it in.
You know?
Take it in.
Yeah. And
All
just
of
try
it.
to be with the pain. Invite it to tea. Someone said to me a little while ago, they're like, invite it to tea and analyze it and really look
You
at it. And I
should.
thought, man, invite what to tea? And
Trouble,
I did that. And I'm
pain.
like, we're going to have a tea party. We're going to talk
Yes.
about all my pain. We're going to talk about all the things that make me sad. Acknowledge it and then release it.
Dish
right?
it out. Right. Because
Yeah.
you have to first acknowledge that it's there.
Right.
Accept that. Once you've accepted it, then you can strategize a way of rectifying it. However, you need to bask in it for a while to understand
Yeah.
what it is and understand it in order to not repeat it, which goes back. 9 times out of 10 is something that's already happened before. You just didn't
Right.
deal with it then, and it's resurfacing now.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And there's
Yeah,
joy
it's
in that
sad.
too. It's a lot of joy in it. Like, you hear me say, you know, I've been talking about my voice for the longest time. Yesterday I woke up, nothing. I told you that, nothing.
Yeah.
That's why we couldn't
Yeah.
check the things yesterday. So it's alignment in all of it. If we had checked the lines on yesterday, it could have been perfect yesterday. We would have come on today and it would have been bananas, right? Just like we got. However, just following suit. I couldn't even speak on yesterday.
Yeah.
You know?
But you took care of yourself yesterday. You
I
practiced
did.
self-care.
And you know what the joy in that was? I wrote about it in my gratitude time and posted it on LinkedIn yesterday and shared it to Facebook. For the
Yeah.
simple fact, it's beauty in silence.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
can't speak, now you have to have conversation with the inner self because
Right.
we've been doing too much, possibly. In my
Yeah.
case, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just having the quiet time to reflect on myself, like, why is my voice strained? What have I
Yeah.
done to myself? Take some self-care, girl, some R&R. Do this. So by doing that, I recognize the beauty in it and realize I miss it. Quiet time is beauty.
Yeah.
It's beauty.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I think, you know, the great thing is you actually sat back and you looked at it and
Yeah.
you didn't get upset. You could have gotten upset. You could have been like, oh, I have a zillion things and people that I need to talk to today. But instead, you sat back and you said, you know what? This is an opportunity for me
Perfect.
to get a little message or signal that I need to slow down and do something different. You
That's
know?
exactly
and
what
the
happened.
thing is a lot of times we don't want to slow down. We don't want to pay attention to the road signs and the messages that we get. And if they're uncomfortable and they're difficult, it's all the more reason that people don't stop and slow down. But it's in those moments when you really sit with it. And you
Correct.
figure out what's going on and what is the message and what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn here. And how
Right.
do I take care of myself instead of beating myself up and push.
Yes.
That's when you grow, and that's when you challenge yourself and you start to feel different and you look at the world differently, right?
Most definitely. And that's
Yeah.
what I took away from it most. It was powerful enough for me to write my post about it,
Yeah.
you know, because we can be just charging forward. Like, I'm a fast moving train without brakes. I know it. I can admit to it. That's who I am. That's how I roll. But at the same time, you can overexert. you can't think clearly. You're not receiving some juiciness of things that you could be doing because you're missing it because you're focused ahead, and you have to slow down and be present. It's a training.
Yeah. That was really, really hard for me because I am definitely type A, and that's one of the reasons why I did so well in the advertising agency business, because it was just a frenetic, like 70 hours, let's go, let's caffeine ourselves up and work all night on these designs. And I loved it, and I thrived on the adrenaline until
Crash.
I didn't anymore, and I hit a wall.
Crash.
And I was like, this is crazy. I don't feel good, and I don't like this anymore, and why am I 20 pounds overweight? It's not good. So it didn't serve me well, you know? And one of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years is sometimes we actually get more done when we're less frenetic and we do less. The world becomes easier when you calm down and your head isn't spinning and you're not all caught up and frenetic. Things just, sometimes you need to slow down. Sometimes you need to only work 20 hours a week. And oftentimes I'm even more productive.
I'm all for it. You know, but looking at it from when you're building business and you're still structuring, that's what kind of tilts us to forge forward. And in reality, you're right. When we pump our brakes, slow down, assess, plan, rather than just flying by the seat of our pants. Okay, I've got this, and this to do today. Yeah. Because I didn't do it yesterday. It's really not that intense. And I'm learning to orchestrate things better. But it's different when you are now on your own schedule and not someone else's. And, you know, we can plan that. When you were in graphics design, I was in interior design, pretty much the same thing. You have your clients, you have your schedules, and your deadlines. Yep. So we're still working on deadlines. And we should probably in the mindset of deadline. It's restructuring the brain. And I had to understand that yesterday because I had no sound. I said, God, how dare you take my sound? Not today. You know, I've got a lot to do, but I couldn't. So the moment I got over that, I said, okay, I'm good. I'm good.
A lot of that stuff I just try and breathe through. I just try and sit and I just try and breathe through it.
Yes. Isn't it great?
Business now. You know, we both own our own business now. Yeah. And I know we both have deadlines for our books because I know I want to launch mine in spring. Yes. How about you? It's right around the corner.
It's around the corner. I'm ready for it.
Right. I got a deadline. And everyone has deadlines, right? And everyone's got a ton of responsibilities. So I don't think, you know, that I think everyone can relate to that. But, you know, a lot of self-talk. I do a lot of self-talk. I do a lot of, you know. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So yeah, I do a lot of just trying to calm myself down and remember that, you know, it's progress, not perfection.
True.
Right?
Yes. That's what's important.
Because I think driving yourself to the point of exhaustion or constantly having frenetic deadlines, and it's a little more difficult. I mean, I worked in corporate America for a long time, and that was really difficult. I worked as a creative director for a really large healthcare organization, and I had a team of about 12, 14 people I had to manage. Yes. And there were always just people coming in and constantly saying, you know, I need this in 6 hours. I need it in 4 hours. It was really, really difficult. Right. But, you know, practicing that mindfulness and trying to be in the moment and be in the now, that's really, when you're working in a pressure cooker, you know, and you're not working for yourself, that's when you really have to tune in and practice a lot of self-care, self-love, and self-talk. And it's the old fake it till you make it. You know, you learn how to do it as you go.
Yes, and that's exactly what's happening. You restructure yourself. What works, what doesn't work, you know, let's change that. Should I get up at 5 in the morning or should I lay down at 5? Because you have to look at that. You can work all night, and I'm one of those. I will work and not realize the time until I literally crash. And that's not the best for self-care. And I'm all for it. It's consciousness. But I know when I've done too much. I know when to stop. I know when it's time to restructure. However, looking at that, you're 100% right. I'd rather lay down earlier to wake up early and be refreshed. However, it's taking restructuring of the brain and the subconscious to do that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to do that because you can go, go, go. That's how you've lived your life. But now you need to change it up because it's almost like a one-woman show until you start building your village or your tribe or whomever to come in so you can alleviate some of these, I won't say stresses, but responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do.
Yeah.
And you have to plan these things out accordingly to be sufficient. So it goes back again to history, what you're used to doing, reconditioning, changing up your scope of what your thoughts are in order to become greater at what you're born to do, at what you are chosen to do. And like you mentioned before, we both have books that's coming out. I've released it in my mind at least 5 times. However, it hasn't made it yet to print. It hasn't made it.
You know? Yeah,
it's too juicy.
The positive law of attraction. You know, and just to kind of tag on to what you were saying, Valerie, is, you know, I think one of the things I think that's helped with the mindfulness tools that I use and that I try and teach and the meditation is becoming more self-aware of who we are, right?
Exactly.
It's getting in touch with that inner source, you know, our soul, who we are meant to be, our purpose, you know, and also having that conversation with ourselves of who am I and how, and I know I'm hardwired. And this, I just realized this a while ago, maybe about a year ago. I am hardwired for excitement. Excitement is my bag. And I'm not talking about, you know, going out on motorcycles or, you know,
that's a complete thrill. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm a thrill seeker when it comes to work. And when it comes to, I have creative ADHD. So I'm all over the place. I've got 20 products already, like, I've touched everything on my desk. I've created 20 products. They're half finished. And I constantly have to have that conversation with myself. Okay, today we're going to work on one thing, and this is what we're going to launch and do. So I started 3 books. And I'm like, how about we finish 1 and get that out? But again,
good luck.
Yeah, right?
Good luck. I'm serious because I literally have at least 5 of them. Yeah. But when thoughts come, I know exactly which book to put that information in. Yeah. So you're writing along the way, but it also goes back to how you and your mind is already structured. I know Patrick is saying change is good. Change is excellent. You're right, Patrick, you know. But when it comes to how we get things done, you have to decide if this is going to be beneficial for you or not. And I know what you just said, I've tried it. I'm going to do this bullet today. I'm going to do that bullet tomorrow. And then I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do with myself because I finished it too fast. So I get the best work done. And I think back, even when in college and I have a report due or a paper that's due, I'd start the paper the night before it's due.
Hi, don't that.
That's how I roll. And then would ace it. Because I do my best work under pressure. Not
but
good. Planning is great.
You're self-aware, so you understand. You understand how you operate. So then you can make good decisions, and you can figure out how to structure for your own day. And I think, you know, what happens for a lot of people is you know, they try and fit themselves into a mold. And to a certain extent, we have to do that when we work for, you know, other people and companies and things like that. But you know, you really, it's a fine balance between finding out who you are and what you want to do. And that's another thing. I talk to a lot of people who are in jobs that they're not happy with, and roles they're not happy in.
That's the problem.
And it's a huge problem, because then they wonder why their life is so out of balance, right?
Yes.
And they wonder why, they're not really happy, and they come home at night and they have the same conversation with their partners or their kids. How was your day? Mine was fine. My boss drove me nuts.
The broken record syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah. We turn on the TV, we dinner in front of the TV, and we totally just check out. And I think we all know. And that was me up until a handful of years ago.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out when I hit 40 why, I was depressed and I wasn't getting enough sleep and I had gained weight and all this stuff was going on. And then I hit my 50s and I feel better. I look better. Everything's just better. But it's because I finally got in touch with
alignment.
Who I am. Yeah, it's aligning with myself.
Yeah.
And that does take some hard work. And a lot of times people get nervous. And I was like this too. I knew for the longest time that like meditation was really, really healthy. And I knew it would help me. But something about sitting down in a chair and being alone with myself in the quiet, like a million things would be going on in my to-do list in my head, right? And I could not calm down. But I gave myself a challenge. And I put this in my book that's going to be coming out. Each chapter has a 30-day challenge to it. It's a 30-day awareness challenge. I made myself sit in that chair for 10 minutes every single day for 30 days. And I said, and I'm not moving. And I'll try some guided meditation, and I'll do some quiet, but I'm not moving. I'm sitting here. I even let the dog out of the room. The phone's turned off. Like, I'm sitting
Distractions.
here. Yeah. And I just didn't want the distraction, right? I'm just going to do it.
You can't afford to have it.
I'm going to muscle my way through it, because type A's know how to muscle their way through it. So I muscled my way through it, and it wasn't until like the 27th, the 28th day, I found myself sitting there for 20 minutes, and I loved it.
It's beautiful.
It finally got easier. And so I tell people one of the best things you can do is just give yourself that challenge. Sit with the uncomfortableness.
That's true.
And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? There are going to be thoughts that come in and out of your head. I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that, well, if I meditate, I'm supposed to totally close my mind off.
Not true.
Nothing should be happening.
Yeah, that's not true. And, when you look at it from that standpoint, because that's what my business is, TVM, everything is a challenge. Yeah. And my tag is, so Valerie, what is a conscious change coach? How can you help me? My thing is, I introduce you to yourself.
Yeah.
And it takes a decision. Like, you can't even work with me until you decide that you are ready to do the work, because everything is challenge based, and it's time for you to reach that.
Yeah.
It's important. And you look at yourself, where you are. Why are you sick? Why are you gaining weight? What's with the headaches? Why are you boring your husband or your wife every single night with the broken record syndrome? Stop it and reassess yourself. You're going to the wrong job every day. Your body or your mind, brain sinks to heart, heart sinks to tongue. That's your language. You're speaking. So everything you're talking about, you are literally telling yourself what needs to be worked on.
Right.
Every time you speak it, that's what you need to work on. So it's not about talking about it. Be about it and change it. And have something else positive to talk about. Life is so much greater when you have positive things to talk about. Because don't be that person that every time you come into the room, everybody else scatters. Don't be that person, and it's because you're not doing anything about it. And it's important. It's actually vital for you to be in alignment with yourself and discover what your birthright gifts are, your talents, your skill set that you do effortlessly. That's where you belong. That's your contribution to life. So that's it.
I agree, because I think otherwise it's just, life becomes soul-sucking, right?
Yeah.
And I put this on my Instagram, and I have it. I just wrote about it the other day. I have a card in my Soulful Connection stuff, and it's, do you believe everyone has a purpose in life?
True.
And I wrote a post about it. You know, does everyone have a purpose?
Yes.
I personally, and I think you agree with me, Valerie, we all have a purpose.
Exactly.
Whether we figured it out yet or not.
Right.
Is completely different. But everyone is unique and has a special gift that only they can bring to the world. And the saddest thing is when you spend all your life denying it or not getting in touch with it. You know,
oh, it's so sad.
You
so
know,
sad.
You know you're not happy. You know you're not feeling well. You know you don't really like going to your job anymore. And, you know, I don't recommend doing what I did. I got so burned out, I just quit. I literally just quit. I don't recommend that.
Let's have a plan, honey. Let's have a plan.
You know, it worked out okay. But I don't recommend it. But I just quit.
Enough is enough.
I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown. I was so miserable.
I can't blame you, though. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't blame
you. Once I really, you know, did the hard work and I tried to find my purpose and my soul and my passion, then I wasn't the drag at the party anymore.
Right. You know? You're received with hugs rather than say, oh my gosh, here's Christine.
Yes, because I got very stuck in my story. And I think we all do. I mean, there's times when, you know, we kind of feel like that victim. We get stuck in the story. You know, we talk about the same things over and over again. We have the same fears, the same, you know, same things are bothering us over and over again. But when you really get stuck and that becomes your identity, that's when you know you got to step back and you got to do some deep work if you want to feel better.
If you want to feel better, if you want to see a miraculous change in your life, because you're not even awakened until you discover what you were actually born to do. And I put a post up the other day that read that very thing. It's only 2 miraculous moments in our lives, and that's the day that we're born and the moment we understand why. So when we understand why we were born to be here, then it's easy to attach yourself to the purpose. And Patrick said, once you find your purpose, it's hard to turn off. You just do. And you love it all the time. Yes, you do it without effort. You do it and love it. It doesn't become work anymore because you're doing what you enjoy.
Very much so. And you probably feel like this when you're writing your book. I mean, do you get into that zone where you could write for hours? Like, I get annoyed when people are distracting.
Don't bother me. Yes.
I'm writing. This is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit and write because I love it. But
because when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. And once you lose that focus, if you lose that one last few words, it would change the whole outcome of that paragraph, the whole end to that chapter. And then I'm like, what do you want? But at the same time, I've learned to turn all bells and whistles off, phones, pads, everything, when it comes to me focusing and writing. Because what I'm writing about is assessing yourself. I accept me and accepting everything that's taken place in your life to date.
Yeah.
Acceptance is powerful within itself. And a lot of people find it difficult to accept themselves, to even discover who they are because of not embracing their history. Again. You know? This happened. That happened. Okay, what are you doing about it? That's my question. What are you doing about that?
Yeah, what are the steps you're taking? Because, you know, we really are the ones that are writing our own story, right?
Yeah.
Our life is a masterpiece, and we are authors of it. And really, you know, you have to show up. You have to show up and do the hard work.
Right.
And, you know, people will ask me sometimes, you know, how did you find your purpose? Like, how did you know what your passion and purpose is? And I'm like, well, one of the things I did, obviously, was, you know, I spent some time looking at who I was, my history, where I came from, what excites me. But what gets me in that zone, like writing, for example, I can write for hours or days, and it makes me happy, and it makes me feel whole. It makes me feel validated. It makes me feel like I've just got something to say and I'm excited about it. And I just write and write.
Yes.
That's how you find your purpose. I mean, my feeling is, you look at when are the times you've been the happiest? When are the times when people are like, oh my God, stop talking already. You're just going
all
on
the time.
That's you being in the zone, right?
Yeah.
That's part of you finding your purpose. So how do you channel that and put that into a career and into a life? But that's kind of where I start looking is, what really excites you and gets you jazzed up and you love to talk about it.
Right.
That's the start of something big. Don't you think?
I do agree with that. However, another piece you can add to that is ask the people that are closest to you. Yeah. What is the greatest thing that they feel that you contribute to the world? And they will tell you, well, girl, you have the gift of gab. I said, well, it's not gift of gab. I just enjoy conversation. You know? Right. So, and if you look at that, and like you in graphics design, me in interior design, those types of things. I love working with the public. I like to not be restricted and stuck to a desk. I like to move around in and out. So those types of careers give us that freedom. Public speaking, coaching like we're doing, those are different freedom type roles. Communication, journalism, all the things that, flying, wanting my pilot's license, all of these things that you can write down about yourself directs you to where you're supposed to be. And look at your career path. Look at the bullet points of all the positive things within each job that you've held. What is the best thing about that? Write it down. And take all of those accolades. And direct it toward somewhere that can be grand for you.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I think you're right. And I think it's important to talk to other people, too, about what they see in you. People that are close, your family and friends. And then the other thing I would add to that is one of the things that kept me stuck for so long, and I think part of the reason that I wasn't willing to really look at, okay, what is my purpose and what should I be doing, is fear. And so that's another thing that I've been talking a lot about is fear, because I have so much of it. And a lot of that comes from my history.
Yeah.
It also comes from the lineage of my family.
Right.
There were a lot of people, grandparents and great-grandparents, that had really turbulent upbringings, and there was a lot of fear-based beliefs that they were raised with, and then that was passed down to me. So even though I didn't have this major traumatic childhood or anything, I was raised by a lot of fearful people. And then you add in just life stuff, that creates more fear for us in some of our experiences.
Right.
And I realized it wasn't until I really sat down and started looking at what my fears were that I could finally get out of my own way. And start moving forward. Like, I was always scared to do public speaking. And if I had to get up in English class in high school or college and read to the class my report, I thought I was going to pass out and die. I would be sick that day because it would never happen. I would not do it.
Oh, wow.
And now I've I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing these, wonderful interviews with you. And I've been doing workshops and standing up. But I really had to look at those fears, and I had to embrace it. And a lot of it was just go for it. Just do it. Force yourself to do it to the best of your ability sometimes.
Just do it. And, and look at it for what it is. Acknowledge it in order to strip the power from it. And that's how, I look at that. And it goes back to conditioning. It could be some things that were passed down through fears of family and friends. And what irritates me, this is me, I've never had that problem with speaking in public.
Good for you.
I love it. I absolutely love it. The thing is, I would do it, but I was always best on the spot. When somebody put me on the spot to do it, it was always effortless. And looking at that. Now, if I had to plan it, then of course you get nervous. or whatnot.
Yeah.
Even with these lives, sometimes I still get a little nervous, like I haven't done it so many times. But I feel like if you take that nervousness away, then you've lost passion for what it is, because you want it to go well. You don't want, things to go terribly. Like early in the day, creating mini-mercials. I created a mini-mercial to make sure that things go well, just in case.
I like that though.
I need to redirect it, and I had time to redirect it rather than waiting until the time, and then we find out some surprise. But on my book, I always have 3 bullets, and when accepting me and everything I've been through in the past, what other people have said or caused, turbulence in my life or whatnot, I accept that, forgive it, move on. At the same time, accepting me, I had to be brave. I accept being brave. I accept being bold, and I accept being fierce. So in order to be fierce, there's no time for fear. I have faith in it. I know where my faith lies, and then kind of flip that and take it in other directions. But in alignment with what you said, a lot of other people like to impose their fears on you, and then you attach to what others are saying or ideas or something they're impending on you. And that is one of those things that really annoy me. I mean, things happen, and something recently happened where that took place, and I was like, listen, you guys, you can't put fear into me. So it goes back to being mindful of who you listen to, who you're associating with, having conversations with, what you're watching on television, how you speak over yourself, and having courage to change it. Change your thought process. Redirect and resculpt your subconscious. The subconscious feed to the conscious, to the heart, out of the mouth. So the tongue is powerful. And you look at it that way. Now, I was shy. Very shy.
I find it very hard to believe.
I'm an introvert. Right now. I'm an introvert. I just know how to turn it on. I mastered how to turn it on when I have to turn it on. And that's how I got through it. And that's the very reason TVM, this very moment, you have opportunity to change. That's why I say that. You choose change within the moments and not accepting fear. However, fearless. Fearless is chest out, arms down. Fear is clutch the hand, fall forward. But yes, I'm a very introverted person. And I used to cry a lot. I used to cry. I cry at commercials. I cry at sad stories. I just cry. But that's a part of who I am. I love people and things, animals and little people that much. And I express my emotions when it's time to express those emotions. But at the same time, I applaud you for saying, I have fear here.
Yeah.
I have fear. And it's pushing through it on the other side. Imagine this. I say this to clients. Imagine how amazing it's going to feel on the other side. And then we'll just walk them through it. Can you imagine? Every step you're closer. Oh my gosh, what does it feel like? And I'm painting the picture. Okay, you have 3 more steps to get to fabulous. What do you feel like? And have them talk through it. Oh my gosh, it feels like this. Oh my goodness, you're down to 2 steps. What does it feel like now? Oh my gosh. And have had individuals to tear up because they made it in their mind. I walk them through it in their mind to make it easier to do it in reality.
Yeah, and one of the things I like to say is, and I tell myself this, is this really happening, or is this a story in my head that I've made up?
The story in your head that you've made up.
And most of the time, the fear is a story that I've made up in my head.
Right.
And again, a lot of times the fear comes from living in the past, past experiences where things didn't go right. Oh my God, it's going to happen again.
Right.
Or looking in the future and going, oh my God, this could happen. But again, live in the now, be mindful.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I was watching, there were a couple comments that came up and people were saying something about on the other side of fear is opportunity. Right?
Yes, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's so true, Patrick, because I mean, on the other side of fear is this great dream life, right? I mean, that's
Awesome.
where everything comes together for you.
Yeah.
If you can just get past your fears, and sometimes it's baby steps, but you know, like I said, if you can ask yourself the question, you know, is this real?
Right.
You know, because we make everything larger than it needs to be.
Right.
Bigger than life.
Yes. And Miss Weathers is saying, hi, Maria, is saying live in the now.
Live in the now.
Yeah. Present is powerful. Don't miss right now because you're focused on tomorrow, the next few minutes.
And this is all we have. And I love Eckhart Tolle. I think he's the one that, you know, I first learned, you know, the power of now. And
yeah.
He's amazing. And every once in a while, you know, I'll put on a YouTube video and I'll listen to him again. And it's so true. It's really, really liberating when you get stuck in your sadness and stuck in your story and you're unhappy. You know, there's great things happening at any given moment in the now.
Exactly.
I'm happy that for once today I'm actually warm sitting here in my office talking to you because it's about 15 degrees outside in New York right now.
You can have that.
And I'm like all bundled up and I'm looking at you and you're in your short sleeves and I'm going, oh,
yes.
it's beautiful down south.
I'm hot. I'm hot. It's cold outside.
Oh, really?
It's me. It's summer for me. Well, it's not as cold as New York.
Oh, it's bad. It's March. But anyway, so there's little things to be grateful for, and we can find it in a moment. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lil Heyman is saying also, I like that. Don't miss right now because you're focused on tomorrow. Yeah, that's so serious. And living the conscious lifestyle, I cannot help myself other than being present. I don't worry about tomorrow. I deal with right now. Of course, it enters your mind. You think about things. However, you can control how much of it you hold on to, what you're worrying about. It takes just as much time to hold on to something you're worried about than to create a resolution to correct the thought.
Yeah. And, you know, I would just like to add, because you mentioned this earlier, and I think this really plays along the lines of us talking about fear.
Right.
Is, you know, I like to tell people really pay attention to what you're listening to, what you're watching on TV. I very rarely watch the news anymore. Yeah, it's not good.
That's what it is.
It's just, it's really, really crazy out there. And, you know, you start your morning, I know people who start their morning listening to the news while they're getting ready for work, then they're online at lunchtime, then they're watching the news at night, and that feeds a lot of negative energy.
It does.
It's not to say you should never look at the news. I mean, you know, we kind of want to know what's going on in the world, but
somebody will tell me if it's important.
Yeah.
I don't watch it either. I refuse to. I refuse it.
Really hard because it is really negative, and especially with the 24-hour news spin going.
Yes.
And then, you know, all the violence in our television programming and everything. So, you know, that also, I think, in my mind, keeps people very stuck. If we're constantly watching news and negative things, you know, what you put into your head, you know, it resonates, and we end up, you know, feeling more negative because we're surrounded by all these negative messages.
Right.
So it's good to have a diet of positivity as much as you possibly can throughout the day, you know?
Yes.
Because I think, you know, stress is a silent killer that nobody wants to talk about, right? Everyone's worried about their cholesterol and how much weight they've gained and their blood pressure. But there's not a lot of people talking about what stress is doing. And fear is a part of stress.
It's the cousin. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a cousin. And it rewires your brain, and it impacts your endocrine system, and it's not healthy.
No.
And people develop all kinds of illnesses. And I think I read, like, functional medicine doctor, his name's Dr. Mark Furman. Is it Furman? I think so. He was actually talking about citing a Harvard study that something like 97% of all illnesses are based in stress.
Mm-hmm.
They happen because of overstressed, overburden,
Right.
you know, endocrine and you know, our systems can't tolerate having as much stress as we do today.
Because
so
there's no
it is something
balance.
to think about.
It is no balance of joy.
Yeah.
And I say often, like, you can have happy all you want. I strive for joy every day because it's the epitome of where happiness comes from. But when you look at that and you eliminate the negativity that is in your life, and I remember growing up, I wanted to be a journalist. Everything I've wanted to do, I've actually done or doing something in the line of it. Like now, this is journalism. It's communication. It's all of those things. I always wanted to be a journalist because I only wanted to report good news. I wanted to be on the news every night, strictly to report good news. And I remember my older sister saying, "You wouldn't make it in journalism.
Or you couldn't get a job.
You won't make it in journalism." She said, "You're the one that runs around looking for the bright light and everybody you just want to hug and just hold on to. And it's just not realistic." To me, I still hold that in my heart. And right now, what am I doing? Reporting good news, awareness, things to make your life greater. The same thing, I wanted to sit in the seat at some TV station to do that. But what I didn't want to do was go outside in the rain and report those stories in the weather. Not my life. But the thing is, I wanted to report good news. And the very reason I'm like you, don't watch the news. If it's important, I'll hear about it. I'll read it in something that breaks for news and those types of things. But at the same time, you surround yourself with the things that you want more of. And if it's positivity, read it. And I think Billy J, said that they start their day with positivity. Absolutely. Feed it to yourself all day long in music or however. And I think we're going to run out of time in a good minute and so many seconds. And every time we get juicy and started with this, we run out of time, Christine.
Well, I think last time we talked on the phone for about 3 hours.
We did.
Yeah, we did. I just want to say gratitude. So try waking up every morning. I know you do this, Valerie, but for people listening, try waking up every morning and before you go to bed and just take 60 seconds and either write it down or say it out loud or whatever.
Absolutely.
From gratitude, what you're grateful for. Big and
Yes.
small. Could be that you had a great cup of tea before you went to bed, your
Yes.
bed's soft, whatever. It doesn't have to be huge. But gratitude keeps the positivity going.
It's amazing. And so all I'm going to say is we're going to continue to talk about it on Facebook. So all of you who are not on Facebook, jump back over there because I'm live there as well. And we'll continue. But thank you, and we'll talk, Christine. Bye. Yes, so that's that when it comes to Instagram. But yes, this is going to be vital to make sure you're responsible when it comes to what you're feeding yourself every single day. Being mindful of what you're watching on TV, listening to in your ears, your radios, stations, your podcasts, whatever you're listening to, and be mindful of how you speak over yourself. Speak over yourself in a very positive way. Understand who you are, what you're looking for, and you can have all the things you want to have in life. You are the narrative, and you can direct that show of yours however you want it to look. Whatever your stage presence looks like, do that, be that, and sculpt your life the way you want it to be. That's the whole point of living a conscious lifestyle. Being present in the moments, understanding who you are, where you came from, the things that you've always enjoyed doing and wanting in life. It comes back full circle. Every single thing I've ever wanted to do in my life, I'm doing or have done. So what's left other than to teach and be available to other people share my knowledge. That's simple. So, you know, do an assessment over yourself every 3 to 6 months. I like to say that to anyone I come into contact with when you want to have a career change or if you want to advance on your job. Know what you want before you even apply. How about that? It's very important. Very important to know these things. What are you doing every day on your path to yourself? Because that's what we're doing. We're looking for ourselves every day. Hence, I introduce you to yourself. I love it. And working every day toward bettering myself to do the very same thing. It's important. So I'm going to say thank you to you guys for coming on with us tonight. If you have anything in addition that you want to add, definitely do that. And we can address it. What was that, Patricia? I've been learning about self-love and self-care, being present and communing with the universe, and how my gift can help others as I work my purpose to fulfillment. Absolutely, Patricia. That's the best way to go about doing it. And you do it by being fabulous to yourself. Treat yourself as you would treat the perfect stranger that you were passionate about helping. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, what is it going to take for me to make you the greatest? And write those things down. And it takes something as simple as meditation, time with yourself. And I mentioned earlier, the best thing that could have happened to me yesterday was that I woke up and did not have a voice. I spazzed all the way out for about 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And then realized how beautiful it was that I had to be quiet. You know? Much love and blessings to you as well, Maria. Yeah. So I do enjoy quiet time, but we can get so consumed with focusing on what we have to do today until we forget about right now. And how powerful right now is, and what we have to do to even earn a right now moment. Stop what you're doing. Take some deep breaths, from the belly up. And just hold it and then release. Look outside at nature. Nature tends to bring you back to where you need to be. It reminds you of where you came from, what you're capable of. And then listen to the song of the birds. The little things that can really snap you back into reality of present. It's important. Do a walk in your mind. Just take a walk down memory lane and replay the last 10 years of your life. Look at the last 10 years and play it back forward. And then ask yourself if you've changed at all. What is noticeable that you have changed? And then thank yourself for that. Be grateful for that, for where you have changed. Because the more you change, because it's not easy to change, it's a decision to change. We can become comfortable in spaces of where we are. It feels good. However, we know underlying it's not good enough. We don't care for it that much. And if we had opportunity to change it, we would, if it presented itself. So back up 10 years and reassess where you've come from to be where you are right now. Then that's going to give you a preview of where you're going in the next 10. I tend to do that often, and having those conversations with myself. I'll put a chair in the corner, and I'll sit in that chair, and I'll look over at the other corner and be like, you know what? What would Jesus do? And I literally will have a few minutes conversation as if I'm talking to Jesus as I'm talking to you right now. I lay it all out. Like, listen, this is what's going on. As if you don't already know. Blase, blase. And then I'll pray over that thing, go into some meditation, seal it up, and then I go on about my day. Next thing you know, a solution is made. I'm shown something, or someone calls, or I cross the path with someone that has the answer to the question that I may have, or whatever the situation may be. You know? So Maria, you said outside in the fresh air has a different atmosphere than inside that can bring out strength. It most definitely can. You're awakened. Your lungs are jovial. Like, oh my gosh, thank you for coming outside. I needed some air today. You can stay inside, and it also, it alters your attitude. Sometimes we need an attitude adjustment simply by going outside and realize this morning, it's like I have so many thoughts in the mornings. Because you're well rested or better rested, and then you're thinking about your day. You're going through gratitude time. I go through all of that process before my feet even hit the floor. I'm talking to God about what I'm grateful for, and then think back to where I was a year from now or from here. So it's always good to revert back. Where was I a year from now on this day? And sometimes you can have some memory recalls because Facebook will send all these memories of things that you've completely forgot about. And then they'll say, oh yeah, a year ago, 3 years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They will pop these memories up and it takes you back to that time. It's like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking with that haircut? What was I thinking wearing that outfit? You know, you change, you evolve, you know, your activities. What do you do outside? And waking up this morning, I realized, you know what? I used to go for a walk every day, just around just a little bit to get some fresh air. And then moving back here to Charlotte, it's like, you know what? I haven't done that. Number one, it's cold. It's cold. I don't do cold well. But the air is amazing. And tomorrow, I'm going to get my tush up and I'm going to go for a walk. Some things from the past are things that you need to currently be doing. Don't dismiss yesterday because it's gone. Hold on to the things that's prosperous to you, the things that are amazing, that flourish you to greater. Hold on to those things. Now, those things that don't bring you any good and no grand intention, forget those things. But filter through your life of the past 10 years and only pull forth the things that brought you great gratitude and implement them back into your present. Now, do that. It'll change your life, literally. I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm not going to keep ranting because I'm grateful that I have my voice restored to where it is. I'm so grateful for that. But the best thing I could have had yesterday was no sound. No sound at all. Man, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And it's better today because of it. And I'm better today due to yesterday. So if you want to read what I wrote, go back and look on my timeline. Anytime you see those sparrows and it's a forward from LinkedIn on my timeline, it's my blog. It's what I've written for that day. And I write it and save it because it's easy for me to store everything in the same place on LinkedIn versus putting something on my timeline on Facebook and then I have to go back through and filter and find it. I don't like that. So LinkedIn shows it every single day. And so whenever you see that sparrow, that is what my gratitude time is for the day. I'm writing about something I'm grateful for. Every day, 2 o'clock, it's not a secret, is my gratitude time. But somewhere, somehow, sometime throughout the day, I'm going to write that down. So what, Patrick? Spring is coming. Get up early for the morning dew and appreciate the sunrise. It's a great start of a day. It is. It's the most beautiful thing, and it sculpts your outlook on that day as well. I love to whistle or sing. I sing or I'm humming in the morning. That's an indicator. I mean, smiling, that's a given. But when you start hearing me humming and singing, oh, I'm in the best spot. That's the best thing. You are 100% correct, Patrick. And I will be, because I'm just readjusting to where I am now. You know, this place has changed in the past 8 years. However, I'm grateful to be here, and it's new spaces, it's new walking trails, it's new people to meet, it's newness all around me everywhere, as well as where you are if you just go outside. Spend some time. Go to a place that you've been planning on going, however, haven't. Do that. Have lunch alone. Have a date with yourself. All these things are very important. because you're crossing paths with someone else that you just do not know. Make a friend. Anything. Change is phenomenal. So what are you going to change within yourself within this month of March? How are you going to change yourself? I'm just saying. And now I'm on my soapbox and I'll just keep talking. Thanks, Maria. I'm glad I'm doing better also. I sound this way, but I feel amazing. But I know it's going to be times that I'm going to have to incorporate into my life quiet time, when I'm not talking, when I'm not working, and get back to my meditation. Before I had gotten up to an hour, I could sit in meditation for an hour, beyond an hour. I even went beyond it before. So I missed that. So when you restore your mind and you're silent, that's a recharge. It's recharging. So recharge yourself every day. And that way it clears your mind. It keeps you focused on the things that are necessary that you must do. Do that. That's all I'm going to say. Do that. And if you need any pointers or suggestions of what you can do, ask. You know where to find me. I'm right here. Yeah. And I'm just on fire. It is hot. I'm going to get off because I want something cool to drink and relax and write my post for today. I haven't written my gratitude time post for today, so I'm going to do that. So thank you all so much for coming on and spending time with Christine and myself. She is a rock star as far as I'm concerned. I just love her. She's great. And for those of you who haven't seen the whole show, you just came on last minute, be sure to go back and catch the replay. As far as Instagram, it should rotate for the next 24 hours. So it's some upsides and downsides to Instagram because I have that gift of lengthy conversations, and you only have 50 minutes on Instagram. 50 minutes. That means absolutely nothing to me. I need an hour minimum. You know my posts go an hour, hour and a half. The one lady from Australia went for 2 hours. I didn't even realize it was that juicy. You know? Oh yeah, let me tell you this. I have a YouTube channel. I'm finally starting to upload these lives. And I still have at least another 150 videos that needs to be uploaded. It's bananas, you guys, because I did a lot of footage for 2018 to get me to this comfort level of where I am to sit before you right now. So I had to pose a challenge upon myself to get used to the camera. So a lot of challenges went on, and I have all of that video footage to upload to YouTube, and I'll put that link somewhere in the comments. But it's The Valerie Miller. That's it, The Valerie Miller. Go over there and follow. So if there's any video or one of these conversations that you've missed in the past, they're all over there. And this one will be too, probably within the next day. That's all I got. Thanks for coming on. I love you fabulously. I most definitely do. So, love without conditions. Always possess a positive attitude. And soar in all you do. I love you, mean it. Smooches.